It's Endgame, everybody, on Deep Dive Zone, a Sonic review series for fans of all shapes and sizes. I'm your host, Devin, joined as always by my co-hosts, Lauren and Bruce, and today, I want to clarify that when I say Endgame, we are not ending the show here, we're not ending the comic here. That could be confusing. You'll see what I mean in a minute.
Yeah, once we get into it, it'll be pretty obvious why we use that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're here with Fleetway Sonic the comic, and we've got some groundbreaking stuff. I don't know what you want to call it. We got some big things going on. Starting here with not continuing directly from last time. It's technically happening around the same time, but
It's adjacent.
we're starting here with Solidarity, Stringer and Pritchett. The remaining freedom fighters find themselves captured after saving some civilians. Now it looks like the heroes need some saving of their own.
Yeah.
Yeah, last time we saw that ROBOTNIK himself was busy with Angel Island, so Metropolis is currently being run by Grimer, who is big and disgusting on this screen here.
He looks so parched. Like, those lips are chapped as hell.
He's doing his best to fill in the part of Robotnik being on.
Oh,
screen.
yeah.
I mean, he's got the Conehead thing down.
He does, yeah.
And, yeah, everybody's out in the streets because ROBOTNIK is gone, and Grimer is... It's very funny. Throughout this whole story, you get the sense, and the next story, that Grimer is just has no idea how to hold things down.
I love it, honestly. They could have just been like, oh, people are getting rambunctious without Robotnik around, but no, they make it very clear that Grimer doesn't really know what he's doing. Exactly.
Right, Grimer's just incompetent, which is honestly funnier.
Like, he introduces a law that is actually very, very Grimer-like, which is like, oh, if your shirts are too vibrant, then you're going to be arrested. Which, I mean, that's sort of in keeping, and that's also got a Grimer flair because he always dresses nice, so I can see him being picky about that.
Yeah,
it results in things getting pretty rough in the streets, and I think that's part of it, is that you created a law that is so pervasive that you don't have enough people to police it. Or robots in this case.
Yeah.
And, well, it leads to a lot of civilians getting attacked in the street, and, of course, Amy, Tails, and Johnny, who have been kind of absent from stuff due to it occurring either on the Special Zone or Angel Island. They get to do some stuff here.
Finally.
And then they happen to group up, and Amy's like, wait a minute, guys, don't stand together. That's really bad. And then instantly, they get captured.
Yeah, it's a little contrived, isn't it?
A little bit.
But don't worry, this is something that I don't think that we've ever really seen in a Sonic story before, because the heroes get kidnapped, but the guys they were saving saw all of this, and they're like, well, we're not just gonna be innocent victims.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have a bunch of civilians rising up and beating the crap out of the troopers to save the heroes.
Yeah, the tides really have turned. They've peaked like a long time, but finally we're getting some actual concrete rebellion.
Right,
Yeah.
we've been hearing for the last 2+ weeks now that Robotnik's been losing his grip, and finally we're actually seeing.
Well, and I just think it's remarkable because I don't think we've ever had a Sonic story where random people off the street can actually help Sonic with anything, or indeed a Sonic cast member.
That is a good point.
Because it's like, what have the civilians of Knothole ever done for anybody?
True.
That's not even just shit on Knothole. I mean, this is a normal thing in comic books and quote-unquote superhero stories, but, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Amy, Tails, and Johnny are free, and, well, it's one of those 5-page stories, so...
Yeah, it's not a whole lot there.
I think, again, it's telling of sort of how falling apart everything is, and again, Grimer's incompetence, because he does something that Robotnik would never do, and he orders a retreat of troopers. Like, Robotnik would leave if he was on his own, and there was no one with him, but he would never call troopers back.
Yeah, he doesn't care about the troopers enough.
Yeah, they're supposed to... They're robots. The whole point is to keep fighting and not care if they get destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
But don't worry, we have not even seen the height of Grimer's bad decision-making, because this continues into the next story. No exit, also Stringer and Pritchett. You could have just made this one... I guess they were in different issues, probably.
They could still have just been multiple parts of the same story.
The Freedom Fighters and their newfound rioter allies try to take back control of Metropolis, but Grimer is getting desperate. And Yeah, and
So,
they're getting media attention now.
Yeah, it's this is clearly important now.
yeah, there's some actual protests going on, and if Robotnik was here, he would like instantly put a stop to it. But Grimer is just like, why aren't the people happy to be oppressed slaves?
That's such a great line. I think, we had been kind of dogging on Fleetway Robotnik for a while because it handed off so many of his creations to Grimer. Maybe this is the pendulum swing the other way, that Grimer, he may be a good scientist, but he doesn't know
He's
shit
not a
about...
statesman.
Yes.
Calling Robotnik a statesman is a little funny, but it makes sense.
Well, he's really good at being a tyrant. That's what he is.
Exactly.
And Grimer is not that. Yeah, so it's interesting how you've actually got like a pairing of skills on the evil team, which like I didn't expect.
They need each other. Yeah, and yeah, Grimer has no control over this, troopers have no control of people, so out of desperation, Grimer calls all of the nearby badniks into Metropolis as reinforcements.
Yeah, that's a pretty
That's
desperate move.
yeah.
That shows that things are really heating up.
Yeah, things are kind of falling apart for Grimer.
It means that there's going to be a bunch of zones with no badniks in them, which means that, well, we're setting up a tower of Jenga blocks here, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Although it is bad, because this does utterly overwhelm the heroes, and even Vermin shows up to get the drop on them.
Yeah, it's effective, but we'll see how well this really pans out for Grimer in the end.
Right.
It's talk about winning the battle but losing the war, so to speak. It's like, we're surrounded, how will we ever survive? Hey, what's that in the sky?
Mm.
Oh wow. Yeah. Back to the main plot, I guess. It's interesting how these stories are tying together.
Yeah, we've got 3 different perspectives to see this from. And well, it's all coming together here in the final victory. Kitching and Stringer and Elson and Dobbin and maybe more than that. I don't remember. You forgot Roberto Corona. Everybody's working on this one. It really is like it is like Endgame.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah, in many ways.
It's an all-out war for the fate of Mobius, as Sonic, Knuckles, and the Freedom Fighters have to deal with the threats of Robotnik, Zachary, Grimer, and Supersonic across Angel Island and Metropolis alike. And, yeah, we start here back in the Special Zone, where the Black Asteroid has been teleported away, which will knock out computerized systems, but also free Supersonic.
Hmm.
And yes, when I realized what Sonic was doing when he explains, oh yeah, it'll send an EMP, and who has most of the technology on Mobius? That's right, Robotnik. And I was like, what the heck? I didn't know what the heck Sonic was getting at, but this is like really
Now
smart.
we know. Yeah, this does make a lot of sense.
I think that they still have to kind of undercut the danger of an exploding asteroid
Well, yeah,
to
of
do
course.
it. But yes. So it's time for Sonic to finally go home, leaving the Chaotix
Oh, thank God.
and the Sidewinder cucks behind.
The Sidewinder cucks.
I was just gonna say, it's funny that Mighty is like, don't worry, we can take care of the Sidewinder gang, and I'm like, yeah, right. They're gonna get away.
Yeah. Iconic drawing of Supersonic exploding out of the black asteroid.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen this image for years and not had the full context.
Same.
But he's cool as shit. Good job, Elson. I know that's not exactly an original sentiment, but
It seems like that there was some confusion before, but this to me just says that the explosion of the asteroid isn't actually that dangerous. I think the problem was that Sidewinder was like right next to it, but I think Sonic told Omni to put it like high enough in the sky that apparently it didn't matter.
yeah, I suppose if it looks like it's like a mile up, so if there's just a few rocks flying off of it, I still think that could kill somebody. Whatever.
No, it doesn't really make much sense, but I think that's the idea.
Yeah. Yes, like we said, this does trigger an EMP, which shuts off all the badniks, and does not destroy Vermin, but it does allow people to escape from badniks.
Yeah, it disables Vermin.
Yeah, it makes them fall over.
Yeah.
And Sonic arrives right next to Amy. I don't know if Omniviewer did that on purpose or what. But yeah, the day is safe. No, it's not. We still have one more thing to do.
Of course.
Well, and frankly, we just
A
freed
few more
Supersonic,
things,
so
actually.
yeah. I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. We do get a look at Angel Island here for a second, where Knuckles and the Mushroom Hill refugees are safe because of the EMP.
Right.
But it's not like Robotnik to be like, oh, my machine's destroyed and instantly give up. As we said before, there's a big contrast between him and Grimer.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
indeed. But we're going to have to put a pin in him for a second, because Supersonic is not missing a beat. You know, this was part of... Okay, this was not part of his plan exactly, but his plan did not fail.
Right.
He escaped, and that's all he cares about, really. Now he can go and destroy stuff again.
Yeah, the heroes barely have a chance to observe the effects of the blast before, well, a different blast comes onto the scene. He utterly destroys them, honestly. He just repeatedly laser eyes them. I'm kind of amazed, because Amy has tanked like 3 of these and is still alive.
It's weird, though. In the middle of this, Supersonic, like, cracks a joke. He's like, you know what? I can't do it. I decided I'm going to let you all live. And Sonic's like, what? He's like, I was joking. And it's very strange. I feel like it might be hitting at something that we see in a little bit here, because Supersonic really has changed. More subtly at first, but we're starting to see more hints.
That even ties into some of the things that I was just talking about, which is he fires another blast at Sonic, and it just harmlessly bounces off his hand. What?
Oh, you're right. There is actually an explanation for how Amy could just get blasted.
Indeed. Yeah, Supersonic is, like, stumbling around after all this, and Omnivore pipes up to say, yeah, storing all that energy to become a bomb basically drained you. So now he can't charge himself up very much. Once the last bit of energy drains out, he's kind of going to be helpless.
Which is a really interesting idea.
It's an interesting idea, but it results in a much bigger problem, which is this image we see of him stumbling around. He's just going to wander off, and they're not even going to take him captive.
They don't seem to care that he just wanders off.
Yeah, they
just ignore him.
Okay,
so
just let him go.
First of all, my biggest problem with this is how it's just a disappointing defeat. Like, Supersonic was imprisoned, and then they're like, oh, he's gonna break out, and they really built up his return, and then he just tires himself out. You can somewhat explain that they're like, oh, we better make sure that Robotnik doesn't, like, somehow pull out from this moment of weakness, which is exactly what they're going to try to do here.
I guess.
Like, Supersonic is not the bigger problem here.
That's fair, I guess.
Yes, I would agree with that, if not for the fact that Sonic is the only one who goes to Angel Island here. You could...
yeah.
I don't know. But, yes, indeed. The people of Mobius are free for now. At least a lot of them are. But Sonic is not done yet, so he jumps through the portal to Angel Island, where, as we've seen, the biotech PC has shut down, but Zachary's robots have not.
Yeah, they don't make technology like they used to. It is explicitly stated that ancient technology is not affected by the EMP for whatever reason. It also explains how, like, Angel Island doesn't get completely disabled after this. That would be pretty rotten after everything Knuckles just went through.
That's a good point, yeah.
That's a good, fair enough.
I really like that this jumps to another part of the story, and in each different part, they have a different character logo. The first part was Sonic, and now this is Knuckles, and we're going to see other ones, the other parts too.
Yeah. Well, and I suppose that this does set up a good thing, which is, if you say ancient technology is not affected, then fair enough. But, well, part of it isn't ancient technology, which is that Zachary's chips that control the robots are not ancient technology, so those get disabled, and he can't control them.
Yep.
Which means it's basically one-on-one for echidnas. We've got laser guns versus being badass, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he takes a knock here or there. He actually gets blasted all the way out of the facility, but Sonic is here to help, so that'll be an improvement on things.
And of course, Knuckles is like doing a trick where he's like, "Oh, I'll pretend to be knocked down, and then I'll catch him unawares." And then Sonic jumps in and is like, "Ah, wow, you were really a tight spot there, Knuckles." He's like, "No, I was doing that on purpose."
Yeah. And okay, so Sonic breaks Zachary's gun arm, and Knuckles opens up a pit in the ground to throw him in, like their first battle. That's pretty weak. You could not make it more obvious that he's just gonna get away now.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's not gonna be dead.
Of course not.
And
Also, holy heck, Zachary and Robotnik never betrayed each other. I
You're right,
really
they didn't
expected
have
that to
true.
happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Zachary, I guess, is held captive in a pit, I suppose, is Knuckles' intention with doing that. And yeah, they didn't betray each other. I think they would have given a long enough time span. They just got distracted.
Oh, totally.
Sure, yeah.
But through this whole thing, I was asking myself, you know, oh, they're moving away from Robotnik as Knuckles and Zachary's fight goes out of here. It's like, oh, they're gonna give him a chance to get away.
They
No,
technically
no.
did.
And
But
they go,
his
they go,
chance, yeah.
they go, where's Robotnik? And I'm like, oh, there he
Oh,
is.
there it is.
Lewis and the Emerald Hill citizens tied him
Like-
up.
It's like, nah, we got him, bro.
Yeah.
Once again, the random citizens actually being really helpful.
Yeah.
I also like this bit of writing here because he's tied up, but Robotnik has like genuine intellectual fascination at how Sonic caused an EMP.
Robotnik is just trying to pull the reversal of the roles. Sonic has done the trick before where he's like, well, wait, before you defeat me, tell me how you got the jump on me. And so Robotnik is like, I have to know how you caused EMP. I assume it's because he just wants to prevent such a move in the future.
Sure,
Yeah. But Sonic is like, no, I won't tell you.
yeah,
Yeah.
you don't need to know, bud.
And that's a good point because I guess Robotnik doesn't even know that Super is separate from Sonic right now, does he?
I don't
he
think,
think so.
so.
Yeah. But hey, ladies, gentlemen, and NBs, we got him.
Yeah.
And Sonic is like, well, something tells me this isn't over yet. And yeah, there's still like several volumes left after this. But
Right. It makes me wonder, is this comic going to handle Robotnik not being the big bad better than Archie did?
yeah, it's
Or how's it going to handle differently?
I am excited to hear your opinions on it. But yeah, we parade Robotnik through the streets of Metropolis with some sunset lighting and some architecture that really is just its best been at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Basically, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they had a giant statue come down like in the special edition. And Robotnik is more upset about everybody making fun of him than him losing. But meanwhile, we do see, Supersonic is just wandering around and appears to now have no memory of who or what he is.
Yeah, I guess him losing his energy also wiped his memory?
I don't know what's going on. I didn't expect this at all. This is a
No,
strange turn.
this is a weird little side thing.
It's gonna be a weird little side thing, and as someone who has now read the entire comic, I'm honestly not sure what to think about it, so I'm really interested to hear your guys' opinions.
Alright.
But an old lady offers him some soup. That's all we need for now.
Right.
But yeah, they're taking Robotnik to the gates of justice, but he realizes before anyone else that it's not over yet. Grimer is here with a thing.
A steam-powered robot.
Yeah,
Cool
so
idea.
Grimer's finally doing the thing he does best, which is being smart
Right.
with machines.
Yep.
Yep. It really is a weird looking machine. I guess
Calling it a thing it is pretty accurate.
because it kind of just looks like a big tube with tank treads and robot arms.
At first, I was thinking like train engine.
Yeah, I mean that's what you think when you think steam powered. But anyway,
Yeah.
it grabs Robotnik. Fuck.
Damn it.
And
Yeah,
then,
so honestly, at this point, I was like, you were like, oh yeah, he's defeated, but like, it's not 100% clear at this point. It's like, oh, okay, is he gonna pull a fast one?
Right.
we knew he was defeated, but we didn't know if he was gonna get undefeated quickly.
Right.
And yeah, it grabs a Robotnik, and then it starts just rampaging around willy-nilly, I guess, because if it's steam-powered, then that means it's not got computers in it.
Right.
Right.
Which really means that it's a technological fascination that it could grab Robotnik and all, but
It's hydraulics.
it's
I don't know.
it forces the heroes to be distracted with
Right.
stopping it and saving people, while the baddies jump off and escape.
Yeah. So Robotnik isn't really no longer the big bad, but he's at least out of the picture temporarily.
They have freed the planet from Robotnik's control, even though he will
Right.
remain around.
Sure, he doesn't have the power to stay in power.
Which is probably better than just straight up killing him off.
Yes, 100%.
And technically that's not even the end of the final victory story, because...
yeah, you're still talking like it's over, but...
It is not over.
Robotnik has one final contingency.
Yes.
That is true.
Sonic smashes the machine and gets determined because we can't let them get away and get working on tech again. It'll basically undo the entire victory.
Fair enough.
So we spend a lot of the last part racing around town looking for them. Tails does tie up Vermin, so they got Vermin in the bag.
Good one to get in the bag.
But the allies of the heroes have Robotnik's citadel barricaded. And the heroes are like, well, shit, are you guys actually in there? No? Well, then we know where they are.
I don't know how this works, but I'm just going to assume that Robotnik somehow accounted for an EMP taking everything out, and this has got some weird
I mean, I
stuff
wouldn't be
about it.
surprised if he had a contingency plan for literally everything.
It
Well,
just
so-
says it's an emergency generator, which I guess
Sure.
would take the city back online, but it wouldn't, like, affect the badniks and stuff.
No, it wouldn't.
I mean,
But I
it
just
would-
assume somehow this will fix everything.
Of
well,
course.
so you can have an EMP that turns off electronics without making electricity impossible to generate.
Well, yeah, there's no reason why electricity wouldn't be generatable after an EMP. It
So-
just
so
knocks
maybe-
out
there are a
like
bunch
your
of
computer.
troopers. Maybe there are troopers hooked up down here or something that would come back online.
or
instantly.
factories, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to jumpstart industry.
Yeah. So yeah, they are in the backup generator room. They got in through the sewers. Sonic busts in and attacks where they're literally pushing he's having Grimer push the thing in a circle to generate power. And it's funny that of course Robotnik isn't actually helping himself.
Of course.
I must say, I really like this duo just scrambling around. And yeah, Robotnik is doing what he does, except he's only got one minion this time.
It has
Right. Yeah.
it has almost like Mr. Burns and Smithers energy to make a really weird comparison.
I get what you mean. That makes sense.
Just in that Grimer is utterly dedicated but also a complete doormat.
Right.
And utterly unfit to be a tyrant. It's anyway. Yes, but Sonic busts in, of course, and he pushes on the turnstile dealy thing on the generator himself. He just grabs hold of it. I don't know. It's weird because Robotnik says Sonic doesn't realize he's actually powering it for us, and our weapons will be online soon. And why would he not realize that? Or is this somehow part of Eggman's plan? It couldn't be, right?
I wouldn't think it is, but
It's weird just because what actually happens is that Sonic overloads the core and makes it explode.
Right.
I just don't know why
Yeah.
they wrote it like that.
I don't know.
But the Citadel explodes and it goes down and Sonic
Boom.
gets out of there
Of
and then
course.
they're like, ha, now we've really won. You didn't get the guys.
Well, as far as they're concerned, that they're just as likely dead.
I don't
Didn't
know if that's the idea. I
that's-
feel
that's
like
what
this
the
is...
impression I got.
Maybe that's the idea. I'll have to see if when Robotnik shows up again, they're like, what? I thought
They're
you were dead.
surprised. Right. They're surprised. That's
Yeah, we'll have to see.
I just assumed that blowing up his control center, Sonic was like, well, he's not a threat anymore, and I'm going to do the thing I always do, where I don't utterly defeat him, so I can just let him come back and fight him again later.
I guess.
Yeah.
It's just, it seems to me that if you did want him, like, permanently dead, you just take them captive, and then you have to worry about overloading the generator. You can do that after if you
Sure.
really want to.
Yeah.
I don't know. It does make it look like either he thinks that explosion killed them, even though he's utterly fine himself. I know he's fast, but whatever. Or he intentionally let them escape. So I don't know.
I think either works, and both are reasonable enough explanations.
I'll defend Sonic letting Eggman live sometimes, but Fleetway Eggman is about as pure evil as Archie Robotnik. He's not as overtly
Sure.
homicidal, but
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just a consistent character trait that I see throughout the series, and it
I
just makes
guess.
sense to me.
Um,
I mean, way back, this series even supported the idea. I mean, it was Knuckles, but Knuckles letting Robotnik go for no good reason. Sonic would
yeah.
definitely let him go if that's what the series is going for, with how the
Mm.
heroes treat the villains when they're defeated. Either way, I like how this ends up with Robotnik and Grimer in the grime of the sewers. And once again, contrasting the two of them, Grimer is like, well, it was fun while it lasted. Robotnik's like, stop talking like a loser. This isn't the end.
Yeah, yeah. You know, he does swear revenge, but things are never going to be the way that they've been. This is the end of Robotnik as the dictator of Mobius. He's still going to be around,
Oh.
but Mobius is
Okay.
saved.
Interesting. I was wondering if that was actually going to be like the ultimate result of this.
Yeah, this is a permanent status quo change for the series.
Interesting. Okay.
And like you say, it is, you know, it has parallels to Endgame in Archie.
Yeah.
It's not the same as that, but it's we are going to be hopping around trying out different villains and ideas, but Robotnik
Sure.
is not gone for good, which is probably a good sign.
That is definitely
Completely.
Well, that's the big mistake that we've said Archie made was them straight up killing Robotnik.
Yeah, it's like they could have taken him out of focus whenever they wanted to. It was
Sure, yeah.
making him die that was the problem.
Yeah.
But despite that being a very big concluding chapter for this series, it's not where we're done tonight. Instead, we're going to continue on to some Tales stories. Starting with, well, it's Tails in Easy Target, Stringer and Flint. Tails gets a once-in-a-lifetime chance to do something that would change the world, but also change himself. And is it for the better? And yeah, we're going to be backtracking a bit to before Robotnik's defeat. This is just going to be what happens.
Yeah, it's whatever.
We'll be past it by next time. But, yes, Badniks are attacking a unicorn man.
Mm-hmm.
And they're Brutus Badniks? I guess these are just stragglers.
They must be just stragglers.
Yeah. But, yes, Tails beats a Badnik, but other grabs him, but thankfully, Unicorn Man is magic, and so he makes the robot put Tails down. Been encountering a couple wizards in this series recently.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's just a coincidence or they're going to do something with that. Because at the end here, this character's like, oh, you know, I'm not from Mobius. I'm jumping ahead. But it's like there's hints that maybe they're going to do something with that.
Yeah, I don't know. This guy is named Forlock, which is... but he's happy for the health, and he says, Tails, I will grant you a wish with my magic. And
oh boy.
Tails, well, you could imagine him fucking it up where he's like, I want to be cool.
I wish for a sandwich. Dude, I'll just make you a sandwich.
Or I want a nice shirt or something, or I want Sonic to stop sarcastically berating me. But he does not fuck it up.
That's not a bad wish, actually.
He makes a legitimately, you know, a solid enough wish.
Yeah.
It's just that the way it's given to him.
Yes, so Tails says, no, I wish that Mobius would be free from Robotnik's control. And the way that this plays out is that Forlock
fucker
teleports him to Metropolis with a gun, where Robotnik is having a parade for himself in a convertible friggin' a no-roof limousine. So this is what I was foreshadowing last week. We're doing a little bit of the John F. Kennedy assassination here for some reason.
Shit.
This comic dials it up to 11 at like the least when I expect it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it just does it randomly. It's like on one hand it's kind of funny, but on the other hand it is like total whiplash.
Archie could get so, like, down in the dumps and dire with, like, emotional struggles and shipping discourse and, oh, it sucks to live in Robotropolis so much. And this comic has a little bit of that, but it doesn't have nearly as much.
No, this comic instead is like, here, assassinate fucking Robotnik.
This comic would, like, do a SpongeBob SquarePants parody if it was released in the modern era, and then have a comic about, like, 9/11.
Yeah, you know what? That's probably not wrong.
I
Good God.
also, I might add, strange thing to do for a British comic.
They're still angry about the assassination happening on the day the first episode of Doctor Who aired.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it stopped that show from ever being successful.
Oh yeah, clearly.
True.
Uh, no, but it's weird because like I mean I guess if you're referencing another culture's quote unquote tragedy, then maybe you won't get people upset. Is like now I'm wondering, why didn't these comics ever ever continue long enough to do a like Death of Princess Diana thing? It's like okay, well, that would have upset people maybe, but what the fuck do you want me to say? Like, this comic is only its premise, is the thing.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing. There's nothing to this comic beyond that. Oh, they're doing a JFK. Oh, Tails decides he's not going to do it. And Unicorn Man's like, cool, you're a cool dude.
Yes, Tails says that this is the wrong way to do things. Why exactly? Who knows? But he throws the gun down.
He's a kid. I didn't really expect him to...
I mean, yeah, I didn't expect him to gun
hard.
down Robotnik, as funny as that might have been.
I mean, yes, but it's like... Here's the thing, though. Here's
funny
the thing.
as that would have been.
Because I assume that we're expected to follow Forlock's rationale, because he does reveal this was all an illusion. He created it to test Tails.
This was all a test.
A very rude
wild
thing to do to a person who just saved your life that you're lying to.
Who's also like 8 years old.
But he says, and I quote, "If you had pulled the trigger, you would have been just as evil and ruthless as Robotnik." No, he wouldn't.
No, he wouldn't have. That's some bullshit.
It has been a long time since I saw that trope played so straight. It's like, modern media, whenever a hero in a children's show refuses to, like, kill a villain, people get really upset about that. They got upset about it in Avatar and in Steven Universe or whatever. We don't know how good we have it because they don't do the "if I fight you that makes me the same as you" thing anymore.
Yeah.
Because no, that would not be equivalent. That is extremely constructive violence versus the very destructive oppression that he represents. Yeah, so fuck off, Unicorn Man, and he does, along with confirming that he's not from Mobius, like we said. I bet he doesn't even grant wishes. What was the point of that?
Bro's lying.
You better come back with a real wish for us later. But
I think he was just trying to teach a lesson. I think that's what he was doing.
Yeah, violence is bad, kiddies. Don't shoot world leaders.
He should have gone to better teaching school. Anyway.
Fair.
Tails comic. We have another Tails comic. This is called Small Change. Stringer and Corona. Tails battles Slimy, the less refined and crappier brappier of Dr. Grimer for some reason.
True.
I mean, yeah, true. I just like him being describing him as crappier.
But Dr. Grimer has a brother called Slimy? Huh?
Yeah, I did not expect to see relatives of Grimer.
Yeah, I
in
never
this comic.
expected that man to have family.
I don't even know why, because, like,
what the fuck is the point?
If you had made this regular Dr. Grimer, what would have changed?
Literally
nothing would have been different.
Yeah, literally nothing would have been different.
They look almost identical anyway. He's a little shaggier on his head and chin, and I guess he doesn't have the nice tie.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. When I first opened the story, I thought it was Grimer. There was no reason to think it's not Grimer.
This is original character Do Not Steal at its height.
Kind of.
Also, the S's on the sign on his lab are backwards for some reason.
I think it's supposed to show that despite being able to invent wondrous inventions, he's still not very bright.
Okay, yeah, he's fucking stupid.
I mean, that's part of it. He wants to be just as great as his brother. Your brother's not exactly threatening.
Yeah, not really.
He just wants to impress Robotnik. You see, adoring Robotnik runs in the family, from Grimer to his brother to the adoptive daughter of Grimer, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Is Metamorphia adoptive, or did we still haven't determined whether he literally bioengineered her life form? Because that would just make her...
yeah, that's what I figured was the case.
Actually, if you genetically engineered something, I don't know how that makes it related to you. Is that adoptive or not?
I figured that would still be adoptive, but I don't
I
know.
guess.
I mean, yeah,
Right.
I'd say adoptive makes sense.
Oh, I realized something. Who cares? Anyway,
Fair enough.
The Greiber family tree, I care about it deeply. Now that the
You
comic
know
is
what?
introducing
Yeah.
it.
Slimy here builds a shrink ray and tests it on Tails. I guess that's what shows that he's not as great, because we've already got shrink rays all over this comic with Fang.
That's true. Fang
Yeah,
will just
yeah,
whip him out whenever
honestly-
he feels like it.
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of weird. I thought they were like, oh, that's going to be Fang's thing, but no, they just put it here randomly.
Well, they
Yeah,
act like
and-
it's such a big deal that he invented one.
I know, it's strange, because it's like, we already do this plenty, and Shrunken
Yeah.
is like, that's one of the most played out, like, comic cartoon tropes.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing special about that.
There's a SpongeBob episode where they shrink, there's a Gravity Falls episode where they shrink, there's a Phineas and Ferb probably have done, like, 7 episodes with that, I don't know.
Yeah, it's an overused trope. I do
Yeah.
like, though, that Tails here is like, wow, that's a big ant. I'm going to punch it.
Yeah. He does not miss a beat with fighting giant bugs.
I like it. It shows that he's Tails is growing into I don't know, growing into himself. He's growing to be somewhat more confident.
No, he's
Yeah, a
shrinking.
lot
He's
of
not
contrast
reading
here,
the
but
story.
Not
in the
somewhat, I
original
guess, yeah.
Tails comic.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Slimy is testing his Hulko droid on some rando villagers. Hulko droid?
The Hulko droid, you know.
It
Not-
can't.
not
I
good
guess
with
it can't be
words.
called a badnik.
That's
I guess.
true.
But we have essentially the same conclusion as that thing in the mountain zone with Sonic and Short Fuse. Because Tails just makes use of his new size by flying up inside it to gum up the gears.
It always throws me off in these comics when Tails is like, oh, I'm not very good with machines. I'll just tear it apart randomly. Because, like, that's totally supposed to be his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, he tears some wires and the thing drops like a rock. And Tails exits and just grows back to full size. I guess this shrink ray is only temporary, which means that not only did Slimy not make something original, it's not even as good as Fang's.
That's true,
I'm
yeah.
sure that's on purpose.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
Well, no,
But
I think
Slimy
this
is-
guy is supposed to be super pathetic.
Maybe. I don't know, because I think they want you to think it's an achievement when Tails wins at things, so...
I mean, I can still
Uh,
consider it an achievement,
It's
but
still...
and while also thinking this guy's an idiot.
I
Yeah,
guess.
they're not mutually exclusive necessarily. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of Robotnik's plots are pretty stupid, but that doesn't make Sonic any less of a hero.
Yeah, fair enough. But Slimy is not happy to see him, and he readies another shot. However, he hits his robot's shiny metal ass and reflects the blast back on himself.
Why you don't make Bender?
Okay, so, I just kind of accept that mirrors reflect sci-fi beams, as
Sure.
illogical as that is, but
Yeah.
shiny metal? Really?
Apparently,
Yeah, apparently.
you could at least make him look like he's made out of mirrors or something. Or maybe that's part of his gimmick, Maybe it deflects like laser blasts from revolutionaries or something. I don't know.
That would be really funny if that was on purpose, and then they didn't think about it, and they just missed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Honestly, that's
yes,
my new headcanon. That would be perfect for this
He-
character.
he accidentally shrinks himself and is now subatomic. And I'm going to give a thumbs down to this comic because when we do eventually see Fang again, Slimy is not with him. I don't know what happens to this guy. I think
That
he's
is
only in
such
this
a
one.
missed opportunity!
Yeah, they should have met each other while they're small and made like a team up or something.
Well, here's the other thing is that what happened to it being not permanent?
That's also true.
Is he just going to go back to normal size and go back to everything later? I don't know.
There's nothing to
That's-
say that he
yeah.
doesn't. I mean,
No, but he doesn't exist
unless he
in
never
this comic.
shows up again. Then, I don't know.
But good job, Tails. Tails over the
He
day.
did the thing.
So let's move on to one more Tails story. This is Fur-tual Reality, also known as VR chat furry RP servers, I guess. Stringer and Corona. Tails discovers that Casino Night citizens are all playing the world's deadliest game of laser tag. And, one more reason that you should have had them in the previous story to have the lasers that shoot the robot and reflect.
Yeah, fair.
Uh,
But yes, in the least convincing trap of all time, Tails is convinced to go to Casino Night, by some signs saying his fan club wants to see him. I guess maybe this is a little plausible because Tails was serving as protector of this place for a while.
Yeah.
You know, I'll accept this. I mean, he's a little bit naive, and there's some plausibility to this.
It's a fine, silly premise.
Yeah, there's no real problem.
But yeah, he goes to casino night, and unfortunately, his first interaction is a load of dudes with guns and goggles on who shoot at him.
I'd like to point out that these goggles cover their eyes, but not their ears.
Even though it looks like they should also have headphones.
Yeah, which is it's the animal ears not lining up with human ears thing.
Yeah.
These comics just don't pay any attention to like recognizing people being sound. No one can recognize people's voices, or maybe everyone's voice sounds exactly the same.
Oh yeah, you're thinking of that Knuckles Wild West comic, aren't you?
Yeah.
But Tails accidentally knocks a bit of debris down, or maybe the blast hits a bit of debris, and it almost hits a guy, but Tails pushes him out of the way, and it knocks off his goggles. So we deduce that these goggles and guns are marketed as a VR game, which, can you even see where you're going? Is it like it seems more like AR than VR.
I mean, yeah, I feel like it would have to, if we're AR though, they'd be able to see that Tails is Tails instead of shooting at him.
There's someone playing a little trick here because,
well, yeah.
Hey, remember Max Gamble? What a great villain. Well, he's back.
Yes,
because everyone wanted Max Gamble back.
He has made goggles that make people see Tails as badniks to shoot in a video game. And nobody else, I guess? Do they see each other as robots? What have they been shooting at until now?
It seems like if you have the goggles on, you don't show up as a badnik, but otherwise you do.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. But yes, Max Gamble is behind this. You know, I'm thinking this is kind of like, you know, another Endgame parallel. This is like the Sonic suit that makes you see Sally as Snively or whatever.
Sort of, yeah.
But yes.
Max Gamble really wants to be an important villain, and he's thinking about, oh, I gotta have like a catchphrase. Ah, yes, life's a gamble when you mess with Max. And then Tails instantly shows up. He's like, what? How did you find me? Well, life's a gamble when you... And then Tails just picks him up.
Yeah, it really is a, how are our heroes going to solve this conspiracy? Oh, he did it.
Yeah, he did it. He might as well have done it off screen as much as it made sense.
Just throws him off a building.
Yeah, Tails just murdered a man.
No, he's alive, and he's like, you guys get Tails. But then they just shoot at him instead because they see him as a badnik.
Right. Makes sense, yeah.
He didn't, like, whitelist himself for that?
No, I assume that he didn't expect to ever be in this situation.
I guess. But, yeah, better hope there's nobody who couldn't or didn't feel like playing. Like, what is his plan? This is not going to help you. He's just being a cartoon mustache twirler.
It might as well not be any kind of plan.
Because I feel like, you know, exploitative evil businessman is a trope that you could do for this, but he might as well just be Robotnik with this.
I mean, yeah.
But, yes, Max is thwarted and will probably still not face consequences. It seems like this guy has been, like, run out of town or thrown in prison, but it just doesn't matter. I guess that's the power of having money? I don't know.
I guess so.
Oh, yes. Deep commentary.
And we end on a joke about Tails being overshadowed by Sonic. Because of But, hey, you know what? What's better than Tails being overshadowed by Sonic than Sonic's comics overshadowing Tails? We get to move back to Sonic stories tonight.
Yeah, it's fine, because we got a red Sonic here first.
Okay, yeah, technically it's a Knuckles comic, but whatever. This is Loose Ends, Kitching and Dobbin. We check in on the situation on Angel Island. That's about it.
Yeah.
Knuckles is gonna fish Zachary out of the hole he made, and I was right, he got out. What a friggin' joke.
And Knuckles, of course, is like, oh, well, I better chase him down. Can't leave the villain alone for a minute. Unfortunately, as cool as the Emerald Hill folk were with capturing Robotnik, they're not very genre savvy, and they're like, oh, you can leave Zachary alone. I'm sure it will be fine.
Yeah,
that's not even genre savvy. That's just dumb.
Yes, but like they don't know that mad scientist guy can go off and build an army necessarily. I mean, maybe he does it. I don't know what he's going to do after this, but, theoretically.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no, somehow this manages to convince Knuckles, although the robots reactivate, and we have to establish that Zachary's program is gone, but people are attacking them anyway, so they retaliate.
Right.
But
Yeah,
Knuckles
it's just a brief moment.
I think what this is to give
anger.
Knuckles a distraction so that, okay, if he doesn't get them off the island, then there actually might be annoying trouble.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
So
fair
he's
enough.
like, fine, if you want to go home now, I'll lower the island into the ocean so you can cross. And then he and Lewis go to do that. And also they're like, hey, also, I've got this box.
Yeah, finally, Knuckles will be able to make use of those schematics.
To be
Yeah.
fair, Knuckles has been busy basically since the moment he got home. So.
I'm not blaming Knuckles, I'm blaming these comics.
Oh yeah, I mean yeah, it's not Knuckles' fault. It's totally the comics.
Yep. And now we finally get back to Sonic. This is Vote for Me, Stringer and Corona. Mobius holds an election for who will replace Robotnik.
Oh boy.
And yeah, Metropolis is just back up and running as a civilian center, looking basically entirely different. It doesn't look like Evil City anymore.
It really
Yeah,
doesn't.
I don't know how they did that. There must have been some time skip, but this is a little unrealistic unless this has been like years or something, which I don't think so.
I doubt it, yeah.
Techno is just really good. Really weird thing here. Sonic is like, wow, it was cool that the power blackout wiped out all the badniks, but it also meant that no one could cook chili dogs. Chili dogs? Excuse me? That's the first time you've ever talked about it.
I thought so, yeah.
I didn't even notice that. That's interesting. They put a little bit of American Sonic in there.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I don't mind that.
No, it's just surprising.
But yes, now there is an election going on for new president of the entire planet, I guess.
Oh boy. Yeah.
This is a great idea.
Yeah.
We beat the villain,
no
but we
issues.
kept the one world government, a thing that is famously good in fiction.
Yeah.
Or real life, I suppose. We haven't had that in real life. But, yes, we go to look at the debates between Baboon and Wombat, and their policies are a load of silly jokes, as opposed to murderous ones like we have in real life. But everyone completely checks out of the election because they don't care. I don't know. Maybe they're just too overjoyed about Robotnik being gone that they really just don't even view these guys as legitimate.
Yeah, they just don't care.
But they are forced to care a week later when we see the candidates are fighting each other in mech suits in the middle of the city. What?
Jesus.
These mech suits look a lot like the ones that those two random minions had in the Knuckles Roots story for some reason.
Yeah.
Huh.
So maybe those guys weren't completely cyborgs and were just like in mech bodies. I don't know.
Yes.
But Sonic decides now is a good time to intervene, which is to say he destroys both of their suits and is like, you guys are just both power-hungry dickheads.
He puts them in the get along shirt. He wraps them up together.
Yeah. And so when we do get to the election, nobody voted. Not a single
not
one.
even voted for them. Literally no one voted.
I'd love to see how the U.S. political system handles that. But we do get kind of a good message here, which is that everyone's like, well, Sonic, you're the hero. You should be the leader. And Sonic is like, no.
No.
We don't need this. We don't need one ruler of everything.
Sonic just basically just says, yo, why don't we just have the different zones lead themselves?
Yeah, which is...
Like, yeah. I was really worried that this comic would do the stupid thing Archie did and make Sonic into a bureaucrat.
Yeah, make him the king of the Acorn Kingdom.
Yeah, God, that's...
We don't have to worry about 25 years later for at least several more months, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we say don't have one guy in charge of everything, and that's
Right.
the message. I mean, I agree with that.
Solid message.
Yeah, I wonder if in later stories we'll actually see the zones have their own rulers.
Mm-hmm.
I am curious to see if that does happen.
Well, let's see how that's represented in our last story of tonight, which is to say it's not. This is Invasion of the Veg Heads.
This is a fucking weird one.
Stringer
Yeah,
and Prison.
this is some real evidence that the writers are like, what do we do without Robotnik here?
Yeah, we're already kind of struggling for what the fuck to do without Robotnik.
Farmer Nigel's vegetables are growing better than ever, but when a series of strange occurrences and missing crops coincide, Sonic works with the Outer Ordinary Event Research, or to investigate.
That sounds kind of painful to say, to be honest. Or
We're on a farm, and the onions are getting friggin' big.
onions are getting fucking wild.
They're stalking people at night, and the farmer's like, I don't believe you.
Of course not.
So we gotta get an investigator here. We've got Harry Mole of Ur on the case.
I gotta wonder, is this some cultural reference that we don't get because we're not British?
I don't know. You know, my parents watch a lot of British detective shows. I don't know that this is a reference to one. Maybe it is. I should have looked it up on the wiki. Wiki doesn't say shit.
The only reason I think that is because if this were Archie, this would totally be like a reference to like a 90s TV show.
Yeah.
There's got to be some significance, because they say it multiple times.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, this has got to be a reference to someone.
Yeah. And frankly, this guy doesn't need to be that good of an investigator. It really does not take much to see that, yes, the plants have become dudes and they're scary.
Yeah.
Yep, and then a page later, Sonic shows up and is like, you guys look like you're struggling.
Sonic shows up for like no reason. He just appears.
Yeah,
Just
like,
happened to
did
be
he
passing
hear about
by.
this?
Yeah, he just happened. It does seem like he just happens to be passing by. It's like,
I
oh, these guys
legitimately
look
think
like
that-
they're.
So much for Harry Mole here being the protagonist who can solve the case or whatever.
Oh yeah, no. Sonic
Um,
immediately overshadows them.
And is confronted by Edward, King of the Veg Heads. He's a potato.
We couldn't have thought of a better name than fucking Edward.
It's such a weird name.
Well, I'm trying to think, is there a potato joke in the name Edward?
I don't think so.
Is that maybe a brand of potatoes you can buy in England?
I guess it might be.
I don't know. But, Sonic is... Well, it's weird, because they take Sonic and Harry captive, and then they just easily break out and run away. I guess it's because it's another part break.
Yep.
So he gets the farmer and Harry out of there, and they go to investigate some stuff in the city, and oh no, there's toxic runoff in the groundwater.
Oops.
This should be affecting more than just the plant life.
Yeah, that shouldn't be giving you big mutant vegetables, that should be giving you dead people.
Yeah, it should be giving you like cancer.
Brain damage at least. And so we're gonna go back to see some turnips captured the farmer while the Veg King was captured by his citizens of Metropolis. So now we have a stalemate, I guess?
Guess so.
And it's like, oh, are we gonna have a trade here? But the Veg Heads say, no, we hate the king.
How convenient.
Yeah, how convenient.
And the farmer's like, oh, well, what if they just live around his farm as regular people and they behave themselves?
Guess if they can behave themselves.
And then everything was solved instantly.
Yep.
And they were never seen again. But why would they be, honestly? What is this? Why is this what we're ending off with? Also, our investigator didn't do shit. Sonic did all the work. And even then, it wasn't very much
Of course.
It was a hell of a mystery that no one knew was a mystery and didn't even really need solving. But damn if it didn't just get solved. So nice work.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Tonight took a bit of a turn in the back half, didn't it? It's like we had all of the important plot stuff completely front-loaded, and then just like random nonsense afterward.
Basically.
Yeah, if we had intentionally reorganized, just like the writers intentionally stalled out till that special story, it might have made more sense.
Yes, the entire reason that we got so many special zone throwaway stories is because they wanted to make sure to hit the start of the final victory in issue number 100.
Which I guess that makes sense. As much as it makes reading the stuff before it kind of unbearable.
I mean,
Well, the
yes,
thing
but
is, they should have just...
you could put something more interesting in there.
Yeah, that's
Sure, yeah.
all it takes. It's just make the filler interesting. It's not impossible.
I mean, that is totally true.
Yeah. But it was still enjoyable in a lot of ways. There was still a lot of good stuff tonight.
Sure, there was plenty of good stuff. It was just like...
It wasn't the last stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
But,
it
you
is
know,
it is really cool to see Fleetway Sonic have a big sort of conclusion to the main problem that's been throughout most of the
Right.
comic.
yep.
And I'm very curious to see where they're going to be going with that.
Yeah, we'll invent some new problems to solve. But that's not going to be happening tonight because that is where we are done for tonight. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to my co-host for being here. If you like this video, please feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, criticism, or feedback of any kind, you can reach us at the link tree in the links in the link tree in the description. I can't talk today. I'm sorry.
Talking's overrated.
Yeah. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I
That's
could-
all you need.
I could just end the episode there, but I'm not gonna. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next week for an exciting next episode. Unless it's boring, I don't know. Maybe it won't be exciting. But I hope you have a great rest of your week. I hope you have a great rest of your night, and take care.